Hey there, welcome back to another commentary. This time around, it is my fan commentary of the 1986 heavy metal horror cult classic Trick or Treat. Now, I know that it's no longer the Halloween horror season, but in my opinion, there is always room for this film. I think this is a gem. I have always been a pretty significant fan of this one ever since I first saw it on VHS. And I would say it is easily the best heavy metal horror film out there, at least for my money. Now, before we go any further with this commentary, I want to give a quick shout out to Bronson for requesting this commentary. And as usual, with all of my other commentaries that I've done for this channel, I'm going to do a countdown. And when I say press play, you press play. That way, everything will be synced up when it comes to your copy of the film, along with my commentary. And I'm also going to do my best to entertain you, but uh, I'm definitely going to make it clear here that this isn't always my strongest suit in terms of doing these commentaries, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And it definitely does help that it's a film that I do really enjoy. So let's get started, shall we? Let's rock. Three, two, one, pressing play. So, Trick or Treat is a production by DEG, the Dino De Laurentiis group. And they had some pretty big hopes for this, but it didn't do that great in the box office. I think the soundtrack sold more copies or sold more tickets than the movie itself. Um, it stars Marc Price, who is from Family Ties. You have Tony Fields. This was one of his few acting roles. He actually passed away, sadly, before this film was released in theaters. And he definitely left a very significant impression with this performance. Of course, you got Ozzy, you got Gene Simmons. There's Sammy. There's Tony, Sammy Kerr. Now I know that Blackie Lawless, the lead singer of Wasp, he was initially considered to play Sammy Kerr, but he decided to turn it down. I think they also considered Gene Simmons, but he didn't like the script, so they ultimately went a different direction and decided to settle upon Tony Fields. Song that you're hearing in the background of these opening credits is by Fastway. Uh, they weren't really the first band that the producers considered, though. They actually considered AC/DC, but AC/DC was busy with Maximum Overdrive. So they decided to, look for somebody else, and they settled upon Fastway. I think it's a good pick. This is just one of many good songs that they did for this soundtrack. Um, and then you have the director, Charles Martin Smith. This was his directorial debut. It's his first film. There's Skippy, Marc Price. I think Marc Price is a great casting choice. Like, he had the right look, and you bought him as this sympathetic, nerdy metal fan who's bullied and picked on, and you also bought it when he was supposed to stand up, you know? I mean, don't blame him. She's definitely a hottie. Although I have to admit, what in the hell is Skippy doing here with the chocolate milk? Like, how do you even do that? It takes a lot of effort to screw up while drinking milk. I love that look on his face. And then you have the villain of the film, Tim. This actor totally went to the same school of douchebaggery as as the well-known famous William Zabka. It's an interesting way to start the film, to be honest, with this montage of him just being bullied and tormented by these jocks. I think it works though, because it's a heavy metal film. So I also like the way that it's shot. It's very surreal and dreamlike. And oh my god, what a nightmare! Like that is such a nightmare scenario for anyone. You're butt naked in the gym. There's all these girls that are there. I mean, damn. Yeah, you can't blame him for having these dark thoughts and wanting to summon a dead heavy metal rocker to get revenge. I think that's a good touch too by the writers, is that Sammy actually went to the same school. Ragman. That was actually the name of the film in a foreign market. Like in one of the foreign markets, it was called Ragman. So Tony Fields, he was cast as Sammy in large part because of his talent as a dancer, because they wanted that for the film, but also just his overall attitude and his look. I mean, that is so intense. That is crazy. Like that takes the whole Ozzy biting the head off a bat to another level. Like biting the head off a snake and then just dousing yourself in its blood on stage. Oh, fuck you. Fuck the PTA. Shut up, grandma. This is a bit of a nice meta commentary here, because this whole television scene with Sammy while he's on the stand in court, it's actually a reference to something that actually happened in the 80s around that time, where there were rockers, there were heavy metal artists that were put on the stand because of what they were saying, what their lyrics were, and their music. It was considered to be offensive. And what a way to find out that your idol is dead, man. After an already really rough, awful day. and he starts tearing it all down. This is hard to watch because he's just tearing down all these classic metal posters and just ripping them to shreds. Like, ugh, and all these banners and shit. But at the same time, it's a realistic reaction to everything. Can't can't tear down Sammy though. This was a great inspired choice to have Gene Simmons be the radio host, doing his best Wolfman Jack impression. Nice way for Gene to collect a paycheck and, still have a role that he can sink his teeth into a little bit. This is an interesting song you hear in the background. If you pay attention, it's "Scream Until You Like It." But I don't think it's the Wasps version though from Ghoulies 2. I think it's a different version of that song. This is also another instance of how how genuinely good this script is. I mean, this is the way that Sammy Kerr is ultimately brought back to life is with this record. This one of a kind record that he recorded before his death. The name of that album is actually a reference to another album that was you know, pretty popular around the time. Songs in the Key of Death. It's a parody of the Stevie Wonder album called Songs in the Key of Life. So this actor right here, who plays his friend Roger, is Glen Morgan, and this is his only acting role. He never acted again after this. He just became a producer and a writer. He actually was a co-writer of stuff like Millennium. He wrote some episodes of the X Files. Did some uncredited writing on this film, along with James Wong, and the two of them actually would go on to actually collaborate on Final Destination. Lisa Orgolini is the actress who plays this character, the character Leslie, the good old Skippy Eddie has a crush on. She's one of the decent actors, performers in the film as well. It honestly has a great cast. Got the pool party. I was never really big on pool parties or pool stuff. I don't know, it just wasn't for me, you know. I'd rather have fun in other ways without getting wet, you know. This is pretty cruel though, what happens next. And honestly, really sadistic if you think about it, what they ultimately do to Eddie, the bullies. And this is another reason why I really relate to this script and this stories, because man, I can definitely relate to bullies setting me up. Where you think, oh, you got invited to do something, or for in my instance, you get an invite to try out for the basketball team, and all it is just a big elaborate scheme that's set up for the bullies to bully you mercilessly. Doug Savant. God, that guy has a face that you just want to punch. Why is she even with that loser anyway? This is just so awkward. Also, at the same time, like, what is so creepy about him? Just because he likes metal? Like, it's not like he dresses like he's Robert Smith from The Cure or anything. This is just awful. They legitimately could have killed him. Put a weight in his backpack and throw him in the pool. Straight up sadistic. I love that shot as well. There's some really good direction in this by Charles Martin Smith. Great shot looking up at the bullies while he's underwater. I mean, how can you not feel for this kid? Yeah. Could definitely hear the desperation and anger in his voice there. It's a good performance. I don't know why he's mad at her though. She just saved his life, and on top of that, she didn't really have anything to do with that. But that's what happens when you're pissed off, don't think things through. Fast Eddie, man, is one hell of a guitarist. I like this transition too to the flashback when it comes to the last night that Sammy was alive. Good traveling camera work there too by Charles Martin Smith. And I like the whole concept of having the record have the message played backwards. That's another way to give a little fuck you to the PMRC. It's like, yeah, okay, all right. You think that heavy metal is the devil's music, and when you play the record backwards, it summons evil spirits? Oh, we're actually going to do that. We'll show you. I guarantee there were people from the PMRC who would have seen this and been just appalled. I just think it's a cool way to send a message too from beyond the grave. And there's something really creepy about it too. The backwards uh message. Why does he have a chair there? This must be a thing that I am completely oblivious of. I why put a chair there? I don't in front of the locker. No, she didn't. She didn't know. Hilarious. There you go. Oh, now I know why he set up the chair. Okay, now it makes sense. I'm just slow. Or maybe not. I think that's got to be the reason, right? Yeah, set it up. Yeah, ahead of time. Good. That's why he set up the mop too. It's so silly. The guys when the guy slipped, flew off the stairs. Another good song by Fastway here. That's pretty funny. Them just slowly sauntering through the library and then going full speed. Oh my god! Holy shit! Deck that poor lady. I hope that lady's okay. Another one of those high schools where all the high schoolers look like they're 35. Like, look at all these look at these bullies. They look like they're mid 30s. Oh, you're in deep shit now, Tim. You're stewed, but one. Also, like this subtle, like Halloween fall stuff. There's pumpkins. There's Halloween decorations. Those are some pretty badass song titles. Like to hear those songs. He's got a point. But in this instance, no. There actually is something more behind the record and the backwards message. The backmasking. Yeah, I don't know why he never acted again. He wasn't bad in this, Glen Morgan. He was actually pretty good. So he's got the cassette version. So he made his own copy of it. Just love looking at all these old vintage audio electronics. He had a really top of the line setup for back then. His parents must be loaded. This is a much better film that deals with a record unleashing an evil spirit than Evil Dead Rise. Ragman. this is this is so eerie. Yeah. Unfucking real is right. All part of the plan. The fact that he knows that his mom was right there at the door. It's another instance of some, good writing with this script. Joel Soasen helped with the screenplay, who wrote Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I like how vague that was doesn't quite give away exactly what the plan is. A lazier script would just straight up give it away and not have this moment where Eddie has to figure out what Sammy is telling him in terms of the plan. This is also another instance of a film where technically there hasn't been a ton of stuff that's happened, like body count, gore, or anything, but it's still entertaining. It's still interesting. It still keeps your intrigue because of the fact that he is now communicating with Sammy from beyond the grave with this record. Man, he really likes those Twinkies. Like, what are you still doing here in high school? Shouldn't you be in college somewhere? Shouldn't you be on a swim team with Keith Gordon? I like the way that this scene is written too, because it doesn't start out right away with it looking like the plan is going to work. He just gets his ass kicked. A weak tit, huh? Now here comes Sammy. This is also the moment where Eddie starts to realize that this is getting a bit too intense because he tries to turn it off. Or he hesitates in terms of turning it off. That's really close to the eye, man. Who's the weak tit now? He's got a pretty nice car too. Think about it. For such a loser. I like this moment too, where Sammy just just messes with his mom. Shows how much, mischievous and, evil he is. This was some pretty sick album covers. Yeah. Sammy's such a trickster. He and the trickster from Brain Scan would make quite the pair, wouldn't they? Yeah, I would be pretty freaked out too. I like the attention to detail that the art director, the production designer, they did for this film. Like they went as far to like create fake magazine covers with Sammy Kerr and all these posters and everything just to make it all the more authentic. Really love this instrumental. It's short but really sweet. Made another copy. I love how the copy like now it looks different. Now it's like all black. That's another supernatural element to the film. Dude, you admiring the view? You perf. Yeah, why do you have to suck up to the fittest? Fuck those jocks. Nice establishing shot here by the director. Little slow pan showing the car. Now the scene that's gonna come up pretty soon, it actually features some practical effects by, I believe it was Kevin Yeager, who worked on the creature. He called it the. It wasn't the Slee Stack because that's the line of the lost creature, but it was like something that was very Very similar in terms of the name. I'm just looking it up here. Yeah, Kevin Yeager, Alec Gillis, who also helped work on it. It's called the Ski Six. That's what they called it. Poor girl. Some nice visual effects here too, with the green glowing mist that's coming out of the headphones. I just like the idea of like the headphones and the song, like the cassette tape leading to some kind of monster to appear out of nowhere. It's a fun and, clever concept. It's definitely very spooky. I mean, look at this thing. It's like undressing her. Good music here by Christopher Young. Definitely fits to the whole tone of the scene very well. It's very unsettling. I guess it's getting really hot in there. Yeah, she's burning up. They even went as far to like make her skin sweat. Like actually show her sweating. This is definitely arguably like the freakiest moment in the film. Like, I mean, look at that shit. Great, great monster effects. And I like that they don't show it that much. It's just there. Okay, there it is. And now it's gone. That way you don't focus on it enough to, pick it apart. And oh god, like her ear just melted. That's just it's not super gory, but it's still really gross and makes you squeamish, even though it's not like a super crazy amount of blood or gore, because her ear is just completely melted. Here we go. The Ozzy cameo. This is definitely one of my favorite things Ozzy's ever done, playing the Reverend. Apparently, when fans arrived on the set of Trick or Treat and they wanted to meet with Ozzy, they didn't recognize him because he was dressed up as the Reverend, and so they thought it was some other guy who was some other actor. This is just excellent satire. There were legitimately people like that who were pissed off and upset at metal for the dumbest reasons back around the time of this film's release. So you could definitely tell that Ozzy really jumped at the bit to take the piss out of those people. This is where things get really heavy. No pun intended. I like that touch with the jack-o'-lanterns having the fire come out of the top. I like it too that at this point in the film, you don't really see Eddie say a lot of things. He's just detached and like, look at that. Look at that look on his face. He just looks straight up demented there. It's a good way to show him becoming more and more taken over by Sammy. But eventually, he realizes that, man, this shit is too heavy even for me. This easily could have been something where he goes too far and somebody dies and you don't really sympathize with him as much. But no, he still has moments like this where he's like, "Hey, what the hell, man? Like I didn't want you to do that." Cheap thrills. This is where his anger is coming back to bite him. No false metal. I don't know if that's such a good idea, Eddie. Oh no. She's the next target. Oh, I love this. He's imitating his voice. It's getting better and better at being a just total trickster here, a manipulator. Some soup. I don't know why that cracks me up. I think it's just the way that he said the line. I like the lighting in his bedroom too. It's very mysterious and dark and brooding. And the way that the script built everything up with the character development and this and just, you know, slowly building up to this point when Sammy does eventually become resurrected, it makes this moment all the more epic because the script took its time to build up to this scene. Just a simple effect with all the lights emanating from the equipment and everything, but I just love it. I love how the Coke spills on the record as it's turning. Love that too with the shapes that are forming in the speaker. It's a really great idea. And then this shot right here with Sammy's hands and then his face. Like that one scene in Nightmare on Elm Street when Freddy is in the wall behind Nancy while she's sleeping. Great direction too by Charles Martin Smith. This shot in particular, where it's just slowly going down, panning down on the shelf behind him. Really does keep you on edge. Because you're like, okay, all this strange shit happened. Like, what's gonna happen next? And it's like this moment where, oh, it's fine. No, it's not. There he is. Sammy Kerr lives. I like the idea of having him have all these electricity powers too. Good makeup there with his face all burn up. I like that touch too. Whenever he's around, like electrical appliances start freaking out. And then this bit, I don't know how he does it in terms of using his powers to attack him through the television, but it's terrific. Such a crowd pleaser. Yeah, Tony Fields is fantastic. Not only was he great when it comes to like the physical stuff, the stunts and the movement of Sammy, but it's a good performance too, in terms of being the right amount of chilling and charismatic, which is what you need for like a heavy metal rocker uh, villain, which is what Sammy Curry is. God damn, that's like hundreds of dollars in equipment, but I don't blame him at this point. You gotta do what you can to try to make it so Sammy can't keep popping out. I wanted a new one. Marc Price's comic delivery is honestly pretty underrated, especially his deadpan. I like this bit too because it gives his friend something to do when it comes to the story. So it gets him more involved. And there's already a nice bit of tension too because Sammy has now been resurrected. He's back from the dead. You don't know what he's going to do next. You know he's capable of a lot. And then on top of that, you have the bully and, the whole physical intimidation factor of him. And I love this bit, that bit too, where it was unlocked the entire time. He spent all this time trying to pick the lock with the wire, and it was already unlocked. So it sets it up as if, oh, this this is going to be the moment where you're going to have the tension, but he just does it easily. It's all a build up to this particular sequence when he decides to play the tape. I don't know why. Like, his friends sounded pretty convincing when he told him to not play it, but curiosity is going to get the better of him here. Yeah, but I mean, I still wouldn't play the tape. I mean, all right. Oh, just wait. So he's making himself a shake. Okay. What's with the peanut butter, though? Yeah, that's for trying to make a peanut butter chocolate milkshake. Although that might not be too bad, but I don't know how the peanut butter works with that, though. Never tried that. Yeah, nothing unusual at all. There. There's Sammy. Just such a cool look for Sammy. There was a quick shot of the fog there. That's nice. I love this bit too. This is just pulls her right out of the TV. Now she's like this just bunch of ash. It's a good way to create a setup for his friend to have the tape and then play it at the dance. It's just vacuuming it up. Uh, I guess you can't just leave it there. His parents are gonna be pissed if he just left that pile of ash on the floor. That's still better than Rambo Last Blood. Huh. This rap, it honestly sounds like it's made by the same people who did the Monster Squad rap. Yeah, you better put that tape in there. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, okay, I know he doesn't want to die, but like, wouldn't he think that if if he you know, let Sammy play the tape, then he would come back and then kill more people? Like, but you know, I don't blame him. Maybe it could have hypnotized him though. Like maybe Sammy could have hypnotized him in some way, and then he would have done it while in a trance. A costume is slowly unraveling. She was definitely flirting with him there. I love this. There's so many moments in this. I know I keep saying I love it, but I just there's so much about this film that I love, and I love little things like that. He's like, "Oh, there's a trick or treater. Oh, here's a whole bowl of candy." And then this whole bit here where Sammy takes control of his car. Big part of why this scene works so well is the direction by Charles Martin Smith, the editing, the score by Christopher Young. Yeah. This is a really tense scene. Holy shit, indeed. Good stunt driving by the stunt driver too. Also, just how just crazy this scene is. It just gets crazier and crazier. Like the car just keeps getting more and more wrecked. Now it's on fire. Like, he's literally in a death trap. And then right here, where he's just right over the edge of the bridge. So now you have extra tension because he's got to get out of the car, but he can't get out of the car too quickly because then, the car's going to fall and he's going to fall with it. So he's got to, be he's going to be more careful. Good wide shot there. There's Charles Martin Smith, the director, making a cameo there. Eat it raw. Yeah, bring on Sammy Kerr. Boo. Who are these losers? No, I think it's Fastway though. I think it actually is Fastway, if I remember correctly. It might not be though. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not gonna say it definitely is, but Sammy just makes one hell of an entrance here. That's how you put on a show. Love that shot too. Right up close, zoom in on his eyes. Just harder. It's just so hard to get cooler than this. Just epic. Just so fucking metal, man. Killer song too. My favorite song of the soundtrack, After Midnight. Oh, I think this is the Trick or Treat one. Both are good songs. B.O.C. Someone's put a spell on me. Rock and roll, rocking on a midnight, steal your soul. Rock and roll, rocking on a midnight, take control. So this is another thing that Tony had to really pull off in terms of lip syncing to the lyrics and the vocals, and they nailed it. And just this energy is just Off the charts. It's great. It's incredible. Rocking on a midnight, steal your soul. It puts on one hell of a show, man. Rest in peace, Tony. He was a dancer. He was actually one of the solid gold dancers. So his background as a dancer gave him an extra unique bit of energy and vibe that you wouldn't get with Blackie Lawless or with Gene Simmons. And this is just such a fun idea. Use a guitar to just blow people up. Although to be honest, I kind of would have liked to have seen like it, be a little bit more. Like he uses a guitar and then blows limbs off or something. Not just makes people disappear. Because that's one thing about this movie I have to admit. It's rated R, but it's kind of tame. Like there's not really a lot of gore, there's not really a lot of blood. I mean, he's just disintegrating people right and left in this scene, but like could have used a little bit more in terms of, an edge. But it's still good fun. It really is. Encore. I think Tony did that stunt himself. Ugh, what a sleaze. So what if I was, right? Like that should be her reaction. Like she should just be like, "Yeah, I am." Cuz he's not a dick like you. I also like that his friend, he's not just like mopey and useless for the rest of the film. Like he actually does do stuff and helps Eddie and Leslie stop Sammy. What an asshole. God damn. Gonna hit her too? What are you doing, Tim? He's trying to help you. Oh, well, that's what you get, Tim. Like, even this, like, okay, yeah, he's throwing him around like a rag doll, but electrocutes him. There's no blood, there's no anything. Just electrocutes him and then he explodes. It's like a PG-13 kind of death. Honestly, if you cut out some of the swearing and some of the nudity, I think that this would easily be PG-13. It's still a lot of fun. And I still really love it for the most part, despite, the fact I would have liked to have a little bit more to the violence or to Sammy Kerr's rampage. For instance, another film that deals with a supernatural shocker. Shocker. That's a film that has better balance of more hardcore, gore or violence. Not just a hardcore, but some gore and violence. Yeah, I love this moment. Clearly not the same actor who does that stunt, but there you go. Roger gets to have his chance to shine too. No shit. Really? Oh, okay, that's the framing. It almost looked like it was the bear that was talking to the cops. Oh, you know why. You like him. They do make a cute couple. Leslie and Eddie. Kind of remind me of Brian Flagg and Meg Penny and the Blob a little bit. The rough and tumble outcast and the popular girl. Oh no. Extremely extreme. Just passed out reading a hustler. Lunch of the Dead. Wonder what that film's like. Lunch of the Dead. Does it star Steven Seagal? Is it a Steven Seagal zombie movie? Is it the prequel to what was it, Against the Dark or Tag Force? Yeah, it's Lunch of the Dead, and Steven Seagal defeats all the zombies by eating them all. I don't know why the cops are just assuming he did everything. That's just weird. He's made out of electricity. And you got that. That's a fun shot there. I think a lot of it may be budget. Maybe that's what was going on. They didn't have enough budget to do a lot of more elaborate stuff, so kind of be you have to be creative with it. So okay, he disintegrates people. We'll just show the guy smoking shoes. It's just anything. Just like Horace Pinker, man. He can come out of any appliance. That's honestly a pretty terrifying concept if you think about it. Like some kind of evil spirit can just come out of anything that's electric. Especially since so many people have cell phones now. Like there's barely anybody who doesn't have a cell phone and doesn't have it on them at like all times. So, and all over the world too. So like it sounds like a silly concept in theory, but like when you really think about it, it's terrifying. This idea of this spirit or, you know, evil that can just emanate and just transport itself or teleport itself through anything with an electric current. There's some great fake outs in this in terms of the shot selection and the overall script. And you get to see more of that cool effect of him like burning through stuff. Like this is a cool effect. Him burning through the door. Although, I mean, really, gets his hand in the toilet and that's what stops him. It's like, okay. But I get it. You know, he's electric. So water. This is a good way to figure out, you know, how to defeat him, how to beat him. You gotta somehow get him into the water. There we go. That's like something out of Maximum Overdrive. We made you. What the fuck is going on in here? Now that I think about it, it'd be a fun double feature: Maximum Overdrive and Trick or Treat. In a way, they're both heavy metal horror films. And DEG, they tried to get AC/DC for the film, for the soundtrack. Never thought a radio station could be creepy, but did a good job in terms of the framing. It's at night. You get the big giant sign and the way that everything is lit and everything. Um, and then you have like the fact that it's like all deserted and there's no one there. Yeah, it's just completely deserted. Everybody's just gone. There's nothing but smoking jackets and shirts and hats left behind. It's like something straight out of the Twilight Zone. Everyone's burned up, toast. There you go. There you go, Eddie. Get some. Better not be maybe. Start your engines. I really like this idea too. It's pretty ingenious. It's a good way to have your hero wind up taking out the villain and redeeming himself. Another great wide shot there. With a little flush. There you go, Eddie. Nothing. Another instance of how editing just really can just make a sequence so good. The shots of the road at high speed. Now you did it. You pissed him off. I like the way that he takes out Sammy. It shows his smarts. He gets to, deal with him face to face one more time. Gets a one liner, gets to essentially tell him to fuck off. Calls him a poser. Hope you can swim, sucker. Also, it makes it stand out because it's not your typical like finale that has some like massive explosion or anything. Like it just tricks him, pisses him off, placates to his ego, pops in the back of the police cruiser, and then drives the police car off the bridge into the water. Now they can finally be together. I like that bit of a callback too, where he winds up saying the same line that Nuke did. Though to be honest, like what happened to Nuke? Did he get nuked along with everybody else? That would kind of suck. Yeah, so the guitarists like they are not Fastway. One of them was Kevin Yeager though, which is crazy. Like the makeup effects artist, he was one of the guitarists in that band. Dan Bradley, giving him a major thumbs up, did some great stunts. Some really good stunt work in this. Kevin Yeager did the makeup effects. Good optical effects too. Yeah, After Midnight. Kick ass song. Fantastic track by Fastway. It's a fun movie. It's a good time. No pun intended. I genuinely feel that the film rocks. There you hear the record playing backwards again. Is that like a hint that Sammy Kerr is still alive? Yeah, all the songs in the film were written by the band Fastway. Um, Yeah, it was the directorial debut of Charles Martin Smith. Yeah, the original director apparently for the film was Penelope Spheris, who would go on and direct Wayne's World and directed the was it the Rise and Fall of, or is it the Fall of Western Civilization? It was a documentary about punk rock, the decline of Western civilization. Part one and part two. Um, Ozzy agreed to do the role because he thought it'd be fun to, poke fun at the televangelists and the religious nut jobs that were, giving him crap for his albums. Apparently, while the film was being made at DG Studios in Wilmington, King Kong Lives was also being shot at the same time. So there is actually multiple instances where like the cast and crew actually interacted with one another. Can you imagine that crossover? Trick or Treat with King Kong Lives. There was a deleted scene, I guess, where Eddie has a fantasy where he's like a Conan type character with Leslie worshiping him as a hero, but it was cut for um, timing. It was cut for pacing issues, and I could definitely understand. I can get that. For the most part, I think it's a well paced film. I don't think it's really a film that has that many dull moments. I think it's every bit as deserving and then some of its cult classic status. No false metal. So yeah, that is my audio commentary, my fan commentary for Trick or Treat. I hope you enjoyed it. I did my best. Probably flubbed some words here and there, and there were some dead spots, but yeah, I had a good time watching it again, and hope you had a good time watching it with me. And until the next commentary or the next video, see you later. See ya.